Hi everybody, welcome back to, that was a little bit of a slow start. Welcome back to the live testimonies. Today I got lucky number 3 coming in. His name is DJ. He's really great. He's done a lot of readings with me. It's kind of just one of those people, you meet and you feel like you've known them in another life. A really great human. I feel like you guys are going to really like what he has to say today. Let me add him in. Okay, he was invited. Now he was. I did it. I always feel like I'm going to mess it up. It's me on Instagram. All right, everybody, this is DJ. He's coming in for, obviously, like I said earlier, another live testimony. I felt like there was no better client to continue the streak with, especially since 3 is my lucky number and my favorite number. So he's number 3.
Yes, and thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Of course. DJ was in a big podcast recently, so I felt like he was definitely suited for this, especially since it's just my Instagram. But I was telling them earlier before I got you in, how many sessions do you think we've done? Like at least over 5. It's pretty often, right?
Yeah. I definitely try to like come every now and then for like a little touch up. I feel like every like once a month at least, or every couple weeks. I try to get like a little like refresh, on what's going on.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's those follow-up touch-up sessions that really make it what the cards are saying, like sink in, I would say. Kind of just continuous confirmation that DJ gets. So I can agree.
Yep.
He's definitely one of my faves. For the first question, I was thinking, you originally came to me for a reading, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So I originally came to you for a reading, and just kind of like more clarity on like my spirituality, I would say, and like I found myself like especially since I was like a little kid, like having like certain like intuitive abilities. And I just wanted to see if you could kind of help me understand what that is, if you would even know. And obviously that definitely helped. So that's what I came for originally.
Agree. Yeah, picking up on other people's energy is definitely one of my favorite things. I feel like I'm not alone out here in the world. Not the only person that can feel things.
Yep.
DJ is one of those people. He definitely understands at a different level. He's very, I would say, like very empathic. He is very connected with his soul in that way. He meditates more than I do, so shout out to him for that. So that would be the answer you were seeking. Like, what else were you seeking from the reading with me? Just pretty much clarity.
But something that I feel like can help a lot of people. You know what I mean? And this was something I was looking for. Was help with therapy, because obviously I had certain challenges that I didn't know how to like overcome, or like get past those obstacles that my mind wouldn't really let me get past. And I felt like maybe you could possibly help me at least like understand what was going on in my brain with or in my mental, or on the other side with therapy, if it feels related. And that was something that I was looking forward to. So
awesome. Yeah, I would say definitely I like figuring out who people's spirit guides are, and I feel like your spirit guide immediately got along with my spirit guide, so it was so much easier. It's just that immediate connection, and I was like, oh, I feel like you already know your spirit guide. I feel like this is going to be good. So that was definitely one of my favorite parts of our initial readings, because we were scoping out like what your brain needed, where you needed to go next, kind of like an investigation inside your brain.
Yeah,
like empathic investigation over here. So the next question would be, what like when you were looking for psychics or whatever you were doing, what made you choose me over anybody else?
So I would say that what really made me choose you so basically, my therapist is your mother, and she told me about you. And when she was telling me about your energy and everything like that, like I immediately wanted to meet you, right? So I wasn't necessarily looking really hard for a psychic or a medium, but like I knew, like once we actually talked and everything, and I felt your energy, that I really like I was ready to let in a psychic into my life, right? Because I knew eventually I would want to. So I would say really your energy is really like what drew me in. It kept me there. It was like I feel like we really connected on a deeper level, and I
Oh
guess our
yeah.
spirit guides did too. And
Yes.
so your energy, really, I love your energy, and
Well, thank you.
I feel like you're really easy to get along with. For
Hmm.
someone that may not even be like super open or like really anxious about
Hmm.
like getting a reading or something like that, your
Yeah.
energy is uh very comforting. You know what I mean? So I feel like
Hmm.
that's one really good thing about you, and that's what really drew me in.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. I would agree. I try to, I don't know, I spend a lot of time on like energy clearing with myself just to make sure like I'm showing up in a positive way. Like if I have something on my mind, like I'm always really trying to make sure that that's not coming through with my energy. And you're not wrong because I said that before you got on the live. Like the first time I met you, so everybody, DJ lives all the way out in LA, in California. I'm in Florida. And the first time I met him, obviously was not in person. And it was on the computer like through a screen. I thought it was like the weirdest thing. Like I felt like I knew him my entire life. Like just
Hmm.
immediately like, oh, yeah, I know his deal. I got this. Don't worry. We'll figure it out, DJ. Don't worry. So I can agree with that. I felt like we had that like I don't know what it'd be. I feel like soul connection or like empathic connection. I feel like our souls just understood like, oh, okay, we're gonna help each other. Watch this. Um,
Yeah, which was really good
mhm,
because you know what I mean. Like me being so like not in
mhm.
person, like so far,
Yeah.
like I know like it could have gone the other way. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
If that's how I like really knew like you were like super official because you weren't like right here in my face. You know what I mean? When I
Yeah.
first got like my first
Hmm.
reading from you, um, it was just like you were right there. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It wasn't obviously it was a difference because you were on the camera, but it didn't really feel different.
Hmm.
It felt like you were right there. So that was
Yeah.
dope.
Yeah. And I literally just thought of it. You were one of my first like long distance virtual readings too. I didn't
Yep,
even
that's
think
what I was
about
about to
that.
say. Yep.
DJ completely like he was, for lack of a better term, he was like my guinea pig. I was
Hmm.
like, yeah, okay, we'll try this. And the next thing you know, I can read people everywhere. So it was like the beginning of me moving to virtual. Obviously, I don't do in person that much anymore.
Hmm.
Um, I do a lot more out of state because DJ and his stepmom really, I'd say, like represent me over in California, and I get a lot of people from them. So I always
Absolutely.
appreciate them for that. Because it's so cool. It's so crazy to think that I can positively affect people's lives all the way to a state I've never even stepped foot in.
Yeah,
So,
that's special. And I'm really
mhm.
glad that we were able to like kind of to do that for you, like to be the first or like at least one of the
Mhm.
first
Oh yeah.
to for you to like experience or like experiment with opening up not just in
Mhm.
person. Because I feel like Marissa and I like we're both very open
Mhm.
with our like our souls are very like open
Mhm.
and like not easy to read, but
Yes.
like we're not like closed
Mhm.
off. So like it was definitely it was for a reason that like we were the probably the first to for you to expand. You know what I mean? And
Yes.
you really scaled after that. So
Mhm.
I'm always super excited to refer you to people or refer people to you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, it's been like you said, like really good ever since I started doing virtual. Like my scope of people has widened, so I can help more people and I get out there more.
Hmm.
Um, in a way, y'all push me into social media a little bit more too, because I don't know if anybody's ever been a long time client of mine, you've known that I really like staying out, like I stay outside at the barn. I don't really get into social media too often. I was the type of person that would post like one thing on Instagram a year. And then after all of this and my business picking up, thanks to Marissa and DJ and everything else, I like now I post way more often because you have to when you're trying to show up for everybody, and like build a business where you can help people positively and
Yep,
help them grow.
that's great
So,
because you never know like who out there really
mhm.
needs you. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah.
that's a really
Hmm.
important role I feel like
Yeah.
in life. Just because you can
Hmm.
really like give people answers to things that no one
Hmm.
else could really give. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
Um, and scaling on the internet, and like not just like physically, is
Hmm.
probably it's really smart. So I'm glad you did that.
Agreed. Yeah, I was only doing word of mouth, so it's definitely a big change, but I would
Yes.
say that's a good one. So
Hmm.
you're right, you're right.
Absolutely.
Um, as for the next question, with all the readings we've done together and card pulls and everything else under the sun, what was the most unique part of the reading with me?
Okay, so um, I would say the most unique part
Hmm.
was your relationship with your spirit guide, right? And
Hmm.
how you communicate with your spirit guide. So your spirit guide is Roger, right? And so
Yes.
like for anyone that's getting a reading, like the way she gets answers to questions that you may have or to talk to somebody that you might want her to talk to is through Roger,
Hmm.
right? Roger's kind of
Yes.
connecting
Hmm.
you with or her with that person or that answer. So I feel
Yes.
like that was the most unique part.
Hmm.
'Cause I was like, okay, like I talk to my spirit guides as well, but that kind of really made
Hmm.
me think about that type like communication in a different way.
Hmm.
And that was really cool. You know what I mean? Just you
Yeah.
like, wait, what, Roger? Like, what happened? Oh, this. Okay, bet.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like, it's cool. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Roger and I are definitely like, it's funny, we act like an old married couple. Like, we go back
Yep.
and forth. And in readings, sometimes, like, I'll say it out loud, and then you can just hear me arguing with him back and forth. So I
Yep.
can agree. It's definitely unique. It's definitely
Yeah.
interesting. And like I read one of the things that helped me like understand spirit guides a little bit more was like a lot of books by Sylvia Brown, and that made me feel like I wasn't alone and I wasn't the only one talking to my spirit guide in my head.
Mhm.
And I feel like I was able to give you that same feeling, if that makes sense, if you agree. Like
Yeah.
that you're not the only one actively seeking out your guide on the other side. That's actually a thing to talk out loud to them and be like, listen, I need this done today. You need to help me or give me support.
Yeah.
So, amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Your direct communication with your spirit guide, Roger, is very sharp. So I feel like
Hmm.
that's one thing that really was unique for me when like initially that's the first thing that
Yeah.
I noticed. I was like, okay, this is cool. This is dope. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to do another video explaining Roger to everybody because he's his own hour-long story of
Yeah.
just him being him, and
Absolutely.
he's sassy, everybody, so he's just interesting. Every reading I go into, he has to add his 2 cents in, but we always appreciate our guides because they're here for a good reason. um, so after that, now now you gotta tell me like what was your favorite part of your readings with me?
My favorite part of my readings was, I mean, basically that you just gave me, answers to questions that I always had throughout my life. Not
Hmm.
necessarily questions that I like ask people or anything, but just questions that I never really knew the answer to, right?
Hmm.
Like saying like I wanted to talk to like one of my relatives that passed away. Like you would
Hmm.
tell me, like what she had to say to me or something like that. I feel like
Hmm.
that's really dope, and that's kind of something that I can sense. Like I remember Marissa telling me like that when you communicated with her relative
Hmm.
that passed away, she like instantly kind of like got lighter. Like she was like, oh, like it just comforted her a little bit. You know what I mean? And I feel like
Yeah.
that's definitely something that would always like comfort people. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm. Yeah.
you telling them something that no one else would know, but
Hmm.
their relative that you're talking to. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
agreed.
Like, damn,
Hmm.
like you're really talking to this person. Like that's crazy. So I feel like
Hmm.
that was really dope. Obviously that I finally talked to a psychic. I always wanted to. You know what I mean? I was kind of nervous,
Hmm.
but the fact that I kind of checked that off my bucket list was dope too.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And that opened up a
Well, right.
different side of my world. So yeah.
Well, agreed. Well, that's awesome. No, it tore me away from the app. My phone is rude. I don't know if you saw me disconnect there for a second. My phone
Yeah,
decided to have an
you're back
alarm go
now.
off, so don't mind that.
Yeah, I can
No,
see
but
that.
I would say that's probably one of my favorite parts of doing readings myself as well. Like, I mean, you have to understand, like, everything that comes in, I don't know. So I'm just kind of like telling you everything that I'm receiving. And sometimes,
Yeah.
obviously, without even my knowledge, I sound exactly like them. Like, I feel like that's very like awe and awe to them because obviously I'm translating it so you can understand. But a lot of the times, just the way I say a sentence, they're like, oh my gosh, that's the same way that he or she used to say it. And I was like, well, that's good. And
Yep.
I always thank the other side for
Hmm.
like helping me like display that more, and putting enough of their energy in that I could like translate it good enough so it
Hmm.
sounds the same. Because not every message I get is straightforward. Sometimes their family members are a little bit more, I'd say, picky with me.
Yeah, and
So it
some
always takes.
one thing like I think
Mhm,
you told me or somebody told me was like for people to kind of realize or understand like
mhm.
when you're talking to like a dead person, right? A spirit, like that person still has like their personality. So like say if they
Yeah.
were like closed off, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
They're not gonna
Oh
tell
yeah.
you everything in their real life, like
Mhm.
you communicating with them like after they're dead and stuff
Mhm.
like that, they're
Yeah.
still kind of like that. You're like somebody
Mhm.
that they don't know is coming in to like tapping like channeling them. They're not going to
Mhm.
automatically just open up and tell you everything. So that
Yeah,
was
no.
one thing that was like, okay, that makes sense. You know what I mean? And people
Yeah.
don't think about.
Yeah, I feel like they don't think about the schematics of it. I feel like a lot of people go into readings just like expecting the answer, which isn't a bad thing, but I always try to explain to people like it's exactly how they're going to be is how they're talking to me. If
Hmm.
they were picky before they passed away or stubborn, like I'm going to have a field day with them trying to get them to talk.
Yeah.
Unless like I have before every reading I ever do with anybody, I always tell them ahead of time, like, hey, talk out loud to your loved ones and tell them, like, hey, I want you to show up for me tomorrow or today. I'm going to talk to a psychic. She lives out in Florida. Like, I really want you to show up for that. And even if not, you could speak out loud and ask the universe to help me give you and get you closer to your highest good. And I feel like
Hmm.
that's a part of it too. Like, you're letting those loved ones know, like, hey, don't be stubborn tomorrow, even though some of them still are. But like Maddie wants to talk to you for me. Like I'll be there. Like
Right.
that all intertwines in a certain way. And it's just, it's, I don't know. It amazes me every time. And I've done a lot of readings, but every single time without fail, after I get off the call, I'm like, that was really cool. Because I never know what's going to happen. I just like trust the universe and trust that that spirit's going to have enough energy to relay the message to me. So I definitely have an appreciation for that, like you could say. Um,
But it's definitely been times where they were closed off,
mhm.
right? And you had to like
Oh
kind of.
yeah, yeah. I kind of just always look at the client like, well, they kind of. It's always the toughest when, like, obviously everybody comes to me when it's time, right? They come to me for a specific purpose, but
Mhm.
it's always tough for me when they come to me, but there's certain things their loved ones aren't gonna
Mm.
they're not gonna say yet because that person may not be ready or along their healing journey hard enough. And
Yeah.
like they'll literally tell me like they're not ready for that. And that's always my hardest like thing I have to relay to people like, well, you got to take a couple more steps and
Hmm.
I'll help you along the way and then they'll be ready to talk. So it's always hard to like break that down and be like, no, they're just doing this because there's a plan and they don't want to say everything right off the bat. So that's always the tougher times because the spirits are basically like stonewalling me like, no, not happening. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but they're right in front of me. What do you want me to do? um, so that's happened a couple times, and I just explain it in the most Maddie way possible. Like, no, it's gonna be okay. They just think it's not time now. You just need some more time. And, not a lot of people like hearing that, but I feel like everybody always understands what I'm trying to say, and
Hmm.
they mostly all of them come back and get the message they were supposed to receive.
Yeah.
Um, so that's definitely one of the tougher parts of the job, I would say, when spirit's not cooperating the way
Hmm.
you want them to.
Yeah.
But I guess it's their world, not ours. So I've been saying that a lot recently. I'm just living in their world, so
Yeah.
I'm just doing what they want. This is their business, basically. I'm just here. I'm just the translator, which I
Hmm.
could agree. So your next question would be, what was your biggest, like, holy moly, this is happening moment in readings with me?
Okay. So I wrote this one down. So I'm gonna read this one
Mhm.
actually. So one
Okay.
of the things that I needed the most clarity on was knowing more about my aunt that passed away about 12 years ago. We were really close. She was
Mhm.
like my grandma. She watched me when I was a kid, everything. She passed away
Mhm.
when I was like a little kid. I wanted to make
Mhm.
sure she was with me and my family still. Without me telling you anything, he told me that she was in the room. and that's why I was like, holy moly, I was like, this is real.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember you giving me details because I remember saying like, like, is there anything she like what's
Mm-hmm.
something that like
Yeah.
you could give me or that she's saying that would make
Mm-hmm.
that would make me know this is actually her and not somebody else maybe.
Yeah.
And you told me about like a brown china cabinet. She kept talking about that. She wasn't really talking about much, but like
Yes.
she was talking about a brown china
Mm-hmm.
cabinet. She wasn't giving any details. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy because like my grandma, which is her sister,
Mm-hmm.
she's had a brown china cabinet.
Oh, you're breaking
And
up.
you wouldn't just mention that for no reason. And like I later
Mm-hmm.
found out that her picture was in there. Her
Mm-hmm.
picture, like it was a picture of her in there. My
Oh,
mom told
dang.
me. So I was like, that was like a
Mm-hmm.
holy moly moment where I was like, it gave me
Like,
chills, you
whoa.
know? Yeah, and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
usually
Mm-hmm.
communicating with like dead relatives is like holy moly moment when they, at least
Yeah.
when the relative is like
Mm-hmm.
open and they give details, you know?
Oh, 100%. Listen, those readings are my favorite readings when they're just giving me off the facts right off the bat and they're like saying it. I'm like, listen, I love you. I don't know who you are, but I love you. Thank you for making this easy today.
Yeah.
That's like my second testimony video, Amber, like me finding um me immediately coming off with her grandpa's watch or her dad's watch. I couldn't remember. But that
Mhm.
watch I had no idea. It's so weird. They literally, like, sometimes they comes through so clear. Like, some people will show me a picture of a watch in my third eye,
Mhm.
and then other people will just give me, like, just a W and then an S. And I'm like, what is that? So it's totally
Really?
dependent on how, like, compatible your spirit guide, I mean, not your spirit guide. Well, I guess it could be your spirit guide too, but your loved ones are.
Yeah.
Um, Usually it takes the first couple of minutes for them to come around, and then other times they're strong, and I'm just like, yeah, I got this. Do you have a piece of jewelry that was theirs? Or, like I said, the china cabinet. I remember how, like, weird it was for me to mention the china cabinet. 'Cause I'm like, this is so
Because you're
random.
like, what is it? Like, what are you talking about? As soon as
Yeah.
you said that, I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's crazy. That is
Mm-hmm.
crazy. Because, like,
Yeah.
no one else has a brown china cabinet except for my grandma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was weird because I thought, like, my grandma has like this giant wall unit full of like teacups and stuff, like glass figures and stuff, and I was like confused because she wasn't showing me that. Like usually they'll say if they had something on display like that, usually they'll show me my grandma's china cabinet and be like something like this, but no, she just went straight to the piece that was hers, and I was like, what is
Hmm.
this? So
Yep.
I can agree. um so the other question would be, out of, obviously our readings, like what benefits did you receive after all of the experiences you and I have had together through readings?
So, I feel like the most important thing for me that was a
Mm-hmm.
benefit was me having more clarity on my spirituality, right? Like I'm a
Mm-hmm.
very like spiritual person now. And I wasn't like always like this just because like I didn't really
Mm-hmm.
know and I'm not the type of person to comply and just be like, okay, yeah, I'll do this religion,
Yeah.
I'll do this religion. Like I
Mm-hmm.
want to really find what's for me, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So like, your help really benefited like my clarity on my spirituality, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
It helped my intuitive abilities like
Mm-hmm.
become much stronger, like understanding like how to strengthen my
Yeah.
intuitive abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And third of all, like I just have a really good friend that's very intuitive,
Well,
has
thank you.
basically almost
Mm-hmm.
mastered like
Mm-hmm.
the lane that you're in
Yeah.
with the sidekick and just helping me and kind of like mentoring me.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like
Well,
that's the
thank you.
craziest
Thank
thing.
you. I can agree. I can agree. And especially like you were like all of our readings together, we did a lot of like getting down to the nitty gritty and focusing on like what's next. And I feel
Hmm.
like over time that has helped me like grow in my own abilities, like having to focus on one thing. Usually I just let them like show me what they want to show me on the other side. But with you, like I really push the universe to show me like, okay, what do we need to do next? I need the next
Hmm.
step. You guys need to tell me. Somebody needs to show up and tell him like this is where he needs to go and these are the steps he needs to take. So I feel like over time, both of our different levels of spirituality and different positions of the journey, like I feel like have grown. Um,
Absolutely.
Agreed. So I can definitely say those are definitely benefits.
Hmm.
Um, Everybody's so in a different spot, but when you can come together and help another human along that journey, it's always awesome.
Okay, so
Um,
let me ask you this really quick.
mhm,
So do you think with me, like usually our calls or like just like
mhm,
communicating with me, or doing
mhm.
readings for me, do you think like I challenge you in like a way, like kind of like opening? Oh, because I do want to talk about like our last call where you
Yeah.
challenged me. I actually forgot about that
Hmm.
until now.
Yes.
Like, do you think?
Hmm.
And I know you have like your mentorship program
Hmm.
now. So like, do
Yeah.
you think like I kind of like challenge you in any way with anything?
Um,
Because I feel like I'd be
I would
asking some weird
say
questions.
you're good. You're good. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say it's challenging, more like I would say more interesting. Like I never know what's coming next, and it's always
Mhm.
really fun to figure out the answer with you because some of the answers you ask, like mind you, I get all of my information from the other side. So some of the answers you ask, I don't know the answer to, and then I also learn the answer with you. So I'd say
Mm,
more interesting rather than challenging. Like, yeah,
nice.
sometimes you throw some stuff at me that's like, oh, I don't know that answer. Oh my gosh. And so like I get a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm like, then I remember like, oh, I'm about to get the answer in zero point 0.5 seconds. Like, calm down, Maddie. It's okay. And
Hmm.
then next thing you know, like I know exactly where to point you. So I would definitely, I say more interesting than
Yeah.
challenging. But our last reading, DJ has obviously always been like a very powerful empath, and over his little journey with me and his spirituality, he's gotten like better at meditating. I taught him like a couple different types of meditations that he could use to further his connection with the universe and his spirit guide. But last time, I feel like, how'd you ask me? You were like, well, how do I get closer to my abilities? You said
Yeah.
like just like that or something like that. And I was
Yeah.
like,
I was saying like
mm,
basically like I'm noticing my empathic. Uh,
mm-hmm,
I feel like me being able to like really read energy, just kind of really pick up on energy and feel it
yeah,
too. You
mm-hmm,
know, like get stronger. So I was like, how do I like really strengthen it, take it to the next level, the
mm-hmm,
next step? You know what I mean? Like, what's something that you can help me do? So
mm-hmm.
that's kind of how I asked it.
Yeah, and then I basically threw you, I would say, in a sense, threw you right under the bus. I was like, well, let's try something. Let's do an experiment. And I basically challenged DJ to use his empathic ability and read me. It's very similar to what the first psychic I ever went to see about my abilities. She kind of was like, just immediately looked at me and she's like, well, this is what we're going to do today. Like,
Mm,
do you see any dead people in this room? And I was put immediately on the spot, and it kind of pushed me into that uncomfy zone of using my abilities. And here I am today. So I was like, oh, I'm totally doing that with DJ. Like, he's about to read me right now. So then we ended up going through, and I basically said, like, based on your feelings, like, trust your gut. Like, what do you think? Like, what do you think I'm feeling at this moment? And there
mhm.
wasn't like, it was how, like, how'd that feel for you before I go explaining what you said?
Wait, what'd you say? You said you want me to explain it?
Oh, I said, like, how did that all feel for you before I explained what you said?
Oh, so at that point, I was really nervous. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
I was really nervous because I just didn't want to feel like I was wrong. Like, you know, obviously I was down on myself. This was
Yeah.
something that I never did
Listen.
before. So I
Hmm.
was like, damn, like, what if I'm
Hmm.
like wrong or
Yeah.
obviously saying like certain doubtful things. And I was
Hmm.
just, I don't know, I just started really sweating and just like I was just really, really, really
Yes.
nervous. I was.
Hmm.
So that was my
Yes.
feeling at the time.
And I mean, heck, being an empath or a psychic, like, it's so weird. I would say, like, I was talking to my cousin about it the other day. It's just so different. Like, you live in a constant state of, oh no, what if I might be wrong, because you're
Yeah.
relying on somebody else to give you that information in the
Yeah.
moment. So it's always nerve-wracking, especially the first time. So I 110% agree with you. When that psychic told me to do that, I looked at her like she had like seven heads. I was like, I'm not doing that. Very
Yeah.
similar to how you looked at me. I was like, no, it's fine. um and then, sure enough, after took a couple seconds, I gave him some pointers about what to do to help feel that energy. Like I was mentoring him. That's kind of one of the many reasons why I started the mentorship program. But next thing you know, he's rant like like rambling off facts about me that nobody else knows, just like based on what I was feeling in the moment. And there was not one single thing that he got wrong. Like
Mm.
I was I was like beyond proud in a sense because like I helped you center yourself in that way.
Yeah.
And just to be able to see you finally get out of your shell, I was like,
Hmm.
that was the coolest thing ever. Like,
It was
heck
dope. It
yeah.
was really dope.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like I
Mm-hmm.
remember telling you, like my head's starting to hurt really bad. Like
Mm-hmm.
I felt like a pain in like my temple. I felt
Mm-hmm.
like both my temples just started really hurting. Like feeling the pain I
Mm-hmm.
never felt before. It wasn't a migraine. It
Yeah.
wasn't like a regular headache. And
Mm-hmm.
like I've really just started to understand really how to like pick up on energy. You know what I mean? Like directly.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it was definitely like something new for me, and that was really dope. You know, I'm really grateful that you did that. So thank you.
You're
Um,
welcome. You're welcome.
you know what I mean? Kind of taught me
Mm-hmm.
a little bit more of like, what I could do with
Yeah.
my abilities.
Further showed like where your abilities can go. Um, that was definitely awesome. I hadn't done that in so long with another client, especially somebody so far away. So the
Mm,
fact that I was able to do it with you all the way in California, and not only did you have to use your empathic abilities to read somebody else, but you read somebody else over the phone
mm.
across the country. So that's a win times a million. So
I didn't even think about
appreciate
that.
yourself that. It was crazy to me. I was like, heck yeah, he could do
Mm.
virtual too. What's up? So, uh, so after all of that and me helping you with that, why would you recommend me specifically to somebody who might be on the fence about mediums or seeing a medium or getting their cards read or any of that? Why would you recommend me?
So, like I said, like a little bit earlier, um,
Mm-hmm.
like your energy is just dope. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like for someone that's like on the fence or, don't really know where, opening up that part of their life,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is, open up that part of your life, you know, um,
Mm-hmm.
your energy can really help comfort that person, right? Like really
Mm-hmm.
help that person like understand like,
Yeah.
okay, this is something that I should do. You know what I mean? And obviously, like when you're ready,
Yeah.
you'll. This is something that comes when that person's ready, right? Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
you came into my life when I was ready for it.
Yep.
So, when that person's ready, like your energy is there to
Mm-hmm.
help them every step of the way, like fill those gaps of like doubt or being nervous
Mm-hmm.
or just like, so I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's why I would recommend you. Just because you're a dope
Well,
ass
thank you.
person.
Well,
You know what I mean?
thank
You
you.
really helped me with like
Mm-hmm.
straightforward, like you really helped me with
Mm-hmm.
a lot of stuff, getting answers with a lot of stuff that I had questions
Yes.
to that no one else could
Mm-hmm.
answer. You know?
Yeah, I definitely don't let you get away with anything either. Always like, well, did you do that? Well, did you do it? You need to tell me if you did it. So I agree. And I feel like I definitely try to strive for that because I don't know, the first time I ever went to a psychic, I was like sweating bullets. I was very nervous. And like in the back of my brain, like remembering that when I started doing readings myself, like I knew that I didn't want that to be the situation. Like I want them to have to be nervous with me.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I go into a reading and I can feel the person's nervous, I always look at them like, you don't have to be nervous. It's fine. It's just
Mm.
me. You got this. Don't worry. Like nothing bad's going to happen. This is going to be fun. Trust me. So I definitely have branched off of that as well. So
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
a
and
good.
like your
Mm-hmm.
personality. Obviously, like I'm
Mm-hmm.
really big on personalities.
Mm-hmm.
And your personality is very like open. Very like you're
Mm-hmm.
funny and you know what I mean. Like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like when I think of a sidekick, like I just
Mm-hmm.
think of someone that just doesn't even have like a
Yeah.
personality like that. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Just
Yeah.
because they go through so much energy, like
Oh my
they're
gosh.
probably
Yeah.
exhausted by the time I get there. So, like
Mm-hmm.
your personality is dope as well too. So
Yeah. Thankfully, I can channel that optimism. Heck yeah. I like to hear it.
facts.
um, Agreed. So the last question of the day. If there's one word you could use to describe your experiences with me, what would it be and why?
I would say clarifying.
Clarifying.
Um,
Okay.
Clarify, it definitely sticks out to me when it comes to like our readings, just because you give me a lot of clarity. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very curious person. I
Mm-hmm.
always want to know something that I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. And
Yes.
like you're always there to try to give me the answer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lead you in the right
So
direction or something.
yeah, like usually when it comes to that, like my vision is very blurry. Like I can kind of see a little bit, but my vision is blurry.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of make it clear,
Yeah.
like you're those eye drops that you put in, for your vision to be
Well,
clear. You know what I mean?
yeah, I like that.
So
Thank you.
I would say clarifying. Yes.
Okay. All right. So clarifying is the word of the testimony. We like it. Heck yeah. No, I mean, I agree. There's just so much that happens in this life that people need clarification on. And I always feel like at the end of the day, at the end of the reading, if I didn't give you some of that, like we're gonna figure it out. That's always my number one mission in a reading. Like,
Hmm.
what are these cards gonna have to say? Like, what do these cards have to call you out on or show you about your life that we need to like make better or help you with? So I would definitely say I try to clarify your feelings about yourself as well. Not only clarify what your loved ones are trying to communicate with you from the other side, clarify what's your next step, all of that.
Hmm.
So
Yep. Yeah, I was
a
about to say
great
that.
word.
Like
Heck yeah.
I was
Mm-hmm.
about to say, like another thing that I really like, was that you also gave me clarity on like my life outside of the readings, right? Like you would
Mm-hmm.
give me kind of like homework to do, things that I could do
Yes.
to like help communicate my spirit guide, or things I could do
Mm-hmm.
to just like kind of like get into a better meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You teach me different meditations and stuff like that. All
Mm-hmm.
that really made my life and my spirituality and my journey very clear. You know what I mean? Very
Mm-hmm.
clear. And we've been like working for like, obviously like almost a year now.
Yeah,
So
I'd say
like
so. Almost a year.
it's been a great journey, you know what I mean? Being
Mm-hmm.
able to like for you to help me. And like I said earlier, like you helped me in
Mm-hmm.
therapy too. And
Yeah.
therapy is not easy for everybody that knows
No.
what therapy is. Like therapy is not easy at all. It's no
Mm-hmm.
like smooth ride. It's a real bumpy
Yeah.
road, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that has really helped me to
Mm-hmm.
process a lot easier. It's things that
Mm-hmm.
you won't really know. It's things that I would have never expected that would have helped me in my life that,
Yeah.
you obviously really help,
Mm-hmm.
kind of make a little bit smoother in my life. So clarity.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, heck, being able to give that level of, hey, this is what you need to do. And listen, homework's one of my favorite things because, like, not only do I want you to remember what I said and have it sink in, but I want you to be doing something
Yep.
daily to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna listen to what Maddie said. Because it's so easy to go into a reading. That's why I record my sessions, because it's so easy to go into a reading, get so caught up in the, oh my gosh, this is happening, that you forget what you were supposed to do after the fact. So that's why I wholeheartedly believe in homework because it helps like push that and like engrave that into your brain. So I
Hmm.
can agree. And you're not wrong. We've known each other for like quite a long time. Dang. That's what's
Yep.
up.
And like
Mm-hmm.
I'm a believer in like reincarnation. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
we knew each other in our past lifetimes. I feel like we shared a
Mm-hmm.
lifetime together,
Oh,
basically.
for sure.
Like
Mm-hmm.
you said, like when we first met, like you felt like you
Mm-hmm.
already knew me, and it was the same thing.
Yes.
And like it's really
Mm-hmm.
like specific people that I feel that with, and I feel like it's
Mm-hmm.
for a reason. Obviously,
Oh, yeah.
for people like
Mm-hmm.
us to really feel that as well. Like it was
Yes.
definitely for a reason. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I
So
agree. It's just crazy to think that. I mean, both of our journeys were kickstarted by me walking into a room and seeing you on a computer screen and
yeah,
being like, yeah, yeah, I got this. Don't worry. Never done a virtual session that far away before in my life, but I was just like, yeah, I feel like in my gut, I got this. In my
yep,
head, thinking, oh my gosh, all right, well, I hope this goes good.
yep, yep.
I could agree. Heck yeah, no. It's definitely been, it's interesting to see like you, like almost like, I go through my own spiritual journey. I mean, everybody does. And it's really hard to see the lessons you're learning from yourself when you're going
Mhm,
through it. So I feel
mhm,
like you give me clarity on stuff that I've worked on, and then I also give that to you. And I
mhm.
feel like that is another reason why we work well together because we're both just like, are you serious? Like, you need to be doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And of course, the cards always help. And um, I don't know, I strive to meditate as much as you do. So we'll get there.
Yeah,
Motivation, right?
absolutely.
Yes.
It's a practice.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so cool though. Well, hey. And if anybody is watching and you want to know how you could set up a reading with me, and hit the book now tab in my Instagram, or you can go to my website, which is like linked in my bio, anything like that, or you can direct message me. I'll be more than happy to get you set up with an appointment. And we could start your spiritual journey as well too. I do all types of readings. I do meditations. I do spiritual mentorship's the biggest one. Like we've said throughout this video, DJ is one of the people that helped me like kickstart that whole thing, kind of like being able to see somebody grow through the things I'm suggesting and helping with, and also growing with myself and them helping me. Like it's just been awesome. So spiritual mentorship is not something you should pass up on either. It's cool.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, you build a connection, and then it really helps, I would say, spiritually and reality based.
It
Definitely
brings a lot
agree.
of peace. It brings on a lot of
Hmm.
peace. You know what I
Oh yeah.
mean? That clarity
Yeah,
again.
especially, yeah. And importantly, because like I will know exactly where you're coming from. Like it's just life is not fun, and sometimes you need a little accountability and motivation. And I feel like I try to offer that. I really do. I make sure that that's happening, because do unto others as you want done unto you. And dang, do I need an accountability buddy sometimes, because we're all human. So
Yeah, we all
still
do.
fighting that.
We all do.
Hmm.
And it's dope that we can both, help each other, what I mean,
Hmm.
whatever way
Yeah.
I can help you, what I mean, I'm always like open to it, so
Hmm. Yes. Well, agreed.
yes,
All
if you
right.
guys
Well,
need a reading, please
hmm,
do it. Because
yes. Let's do it. I
like
will
I feel
definitely
like
have.
after my first reading, I was like, when can I do a next one? Like I was so
Yeah.
excited to just do
You were
another one
already messaging
because
me. Yeah.
and I did like 3 hours. I feel like, and I feel like I wanted to do more at that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
fun. You know what I mean? It's cool. It's dope.
Yeah.
It's some new things, eye opening. It's just a
Hmm.
lot of things. You know what I mean? That could really like benefit your perspective of life. It changed my perspective too. So that's another
Hmm.
thing I wanted to say.
Well, thank you. Well, hey, I can agree with him. Get a reading. It'll change you. It'll make you
Yes.
great. It'll open
Yes.
your eyes up to all the things you've been missing.
Mhm.
They're
Yep.
awesome. I'd absolutely love to help anybody. So game on. But all right. Well, I appreciate you, DJ, for coming out here today. Well, coming on here today and
Yes.
doing this
Thank you for having me.
testimony. Like I said, lucky number 3. So this should send the rest of the live testimonies off on a really good foot. So
Mhm.
good.
Thank you for
But
having me. And anytime. Absolutely.
of course, of course. So there might be an encore. DJ and I might think of something else to talk about. You never know.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and he showed me how to put my lives on YouTube today, because I'm a little bit technologically challenged, and I thought that was
Yes.
cool. So
You guys can find the replay on that. And I'll
yes.
probably post the replay on
Hmm.
my Instagram too. So,
All right. All right
yes,
then.
ma'am.
All right, DJ. Well, you have a good night.
Thank you.
And
You as well.
all right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.